Hello.
Oh. Hi guys, my name is Taylor.
I'm Hussain.
And this is
Cinnomadics.
I'm probably going to have timestamps either put into the video or put on the screen. So if one of these things is what drew you here and you want to talk about it or listen to us talk about it, then feel free to click the timestamps. Also, subscribe and like and comment. This is our first video. First thing we're going to talk about is the live action movie version of Mulan and it flopping everywhere. The second thing we're going to talk about is Netflix and Cuties. Do you know what Cuties is?
No, but I will say we will tell it like it is.
No, I'll tell you what it is. I'll let you know since you don't know what it is.
Okay.
And then the third thing that we're going to talk about are the movie, the trailer turned TV show now, Bel Air. If you guys remember Bel Air 2019, the whatever.
Based off of The Fresh Prince.
Yeah. Peacock just bought the trailer, according to Will Smith, for 2 seasons on their streaming app. NBC bought it for their streaming app, Peacock. So we're going to talk about that, and maybe if there's time, we'll get to the Ratched show, TV show on Netflix about the nurse Mildred Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Okay, so the first thing we're talking about is Mulan.
So we'll say Mulan's the reason, but really, I feel like we're going to talk about why they all exist. I'm kind of glad it flopped because there's this small part of me that just kind of wants Disney to fail in this regard. Because I'll tell you this, I saw The Lion King last year, and I was disappointed.
I like how you said that like it was a hot take. I saw The Lion King last year, and let me just say, didn't like it.
It sucked, yes.
It wasn't good.
But it made $1 billion, which basically proves to Disney that they shouldn't care about making quality movies as long as they could just retell their stories.
The problem with The Lion King, right, was that it didn't add anything to the story. There was nothing new. Like, them making this like a live action, which it wasn't, but even if it was, if they did teach lions to mimic talking and then voice over it, there's nothing really that having real lions would add to the story, and I think that's where Disney lost me. Like, it would be cool if these real characters or whatever, like the real life version of the cartoon characters having a real life equivalent somehow added to the story. Like, I think when they, like, if they were to do Pinocchio and have like a CGI puppet and a land with real people, I know they're going to do Pinocchio, but I'm just saying, I feel like that could add something. Like, this cartoon fake doll wants to be a real boy. I could see the realness of everything adding something to it. But when it comes to like, if you're still going to do like cartoon things like Mulan without blood, this is a story about a woman in war. How are you going to show war without blood? I don't see what the purpose was if they weren't going to depict it in a more severe and serious way. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think it tried to have his cake and eat it too, so to speak.
Yeah, I am. I concur that I am happy that it didn't do well. I do wish that that a different movie, maybe one with less POC, would have done bad first. I know that it flopped hard in China. Chinese people, the Chinese audience, I guess, did not appreciate this movie. Like, they just didn't buy it. They didn't like it. It wasn't good. And I feel bad for the people who worked hard on the movie. But it's also like, what did you expect? You have this movie based on one of the biggest Chinese, like, martyrs, I guess. And it's huge. They teach about her in school. Yeah, like, she has a poem that they teach about in school. And, like, these kids know the poem of, like, Mulan. But, like, you have this movie that's not even filmed in Chinese. It's filmed in English. So the kids who have to, like, watch this probably don't have the best English yet because they're children, and how many languages can they know?
Well, do they dub it in Chinese or
I feel
for
like
that
they
audience?
shouldn't. I feel like if it's a Chinese movie, then they should make it for a Chinese audience. And also, I heard that a lot of I'm not Chinese, obviously, but like I heard that a lot of like there's a phoenix that replaces Mushu,
yeah.
Right?
Eddie Murphy,
right? And I guess they didn't even get the reference of the phoenix with Chinese culture, right? It's more of like a Western culture version of the phoenix applied in this Chinese tale. Like, I just feel like if they were going to make this movie about this Chinese girl with real Chinese people, then they should have done it with more Chinese influences. Like, hot take, they didn't even have Chinese writers. All of the writers were white. So now it comes across as like you people just, not you people, but like, you know, the writers of the movie just, I don't know how to explain it, like writing about their like Asian fantasies, you know? Because like they obviously didn't look too hard into any of these things because they got a lot of stuff wrong. They wrote it all in English, and they have a lot of Western values put into it for the time and now. So it's more like they took the story, made it into like a modern feminist tale, and then just rolled with it, I guess. But it's like, that's cool and whatever, because Mulan wasn't like an anti-feminist person, but it's also like, it's not your story to tell kind of thing, you know? I don't know if any of that made sense. Just my impressions. Also, I want to say I did not see the movie.
I did not see the movie either, which, should we critique a movie we haven't seen?
I'm not critiquing
Probably
the
not.
movie. I'm just critiquing
The existence of the movie?
Yeah.
The entire reason for these things is not to, like, give the audience value. It's just to make money at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
like it's just literally a cash grab. That's what Lion King was. That's what Aladdin was. Like, it's nothing we're actually asking for, but people are still seeing it, and they keep making $1 billion. So, I mean, we have to, like, look at the reason this movie exists through that frame. But then they did this thing with Mulan where it's like, we actually want to make this one different. We want to make this one, you know, critically acclaimed and artistically sound. So, so I feel like the fact that they tried to dip a hand in both pots, like making a great movie and just making a cash grab that retells the same stories before, led to a lack of vision that didn't work in both directions. If you just did like exactly a 1998 Mulan cartoon live action, then people would be like, oh, this sucks. But at least the people would be like, yeah, no, I just want to see a live action version of that cartoon. And it'd be fine.
I guess, like, but if you knew what you were going in for, then what's the purpose of buying a ticket? I can just watch the movie I saw 22 years ago.
Well, that's what The Lion King was, and people still saw it. You know what I mean?
I thought people saw it more so to see what like the animation of these lions would look like because it was semi-impressive. It was like weird to me, but everybody else was like, "Oh my god, this is great!" And I was like, "This looks like a lion. It looks lion-esque, but it's not a lion." And I thought that was weird. I couldn't get into the movie. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. I feel like Mulan could have worked if it was like a PG-13 movie. Like if they would have showed us the stuff that they're not going to show us. Like I would have, when I first heard that they were doing Mulan in a live action movie, and I was skeptical. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then they said that it wasn't going to be a musical. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to be great. I was picturing like Game of Thrones level stuff. Like Mulan's out there blowing stuff up with fireworks, slashing people's heads off as she's riding down the horses because she's in war. You know?
Can I remind you, this is a remake of Disney's 1998 Mulan.
I thought it was going to be like a more intense version of that story. But it's not.
Because you can't go all the way with it.
But they could have. I would have paid $30 to see a PG-13.
Do you think Little Sarah would have saw...
Little Sarah can watch the cartoon. Little Sarah doesn't have $30. I have $30.
But you're forgetting the reason they make these movies is so they can get $1 billion based off of an IP they don't have to put any creative juices into.
Look. Little Sarah's parents was about to pay money, $30, so that she, little Johnny... each of them and then the little baby on the way could see the same movie. I would have bought it for me alone, maybe you, and then convinced my friends who have jobs and their own $30 to buy the movie.
Well, I think we have to keep in mind, too, that this movie was never made with the intention of releasing it the way it released. It was made with the intention of releasing it like every other Disney remake. But here's why this failed probably where the other one succeeded. If you just release Mulan to theaters... people are just going to go and buy a ticket and see it immediately. And by the time all the bad press gets out, it doesn't matter. People are just curious now to watch it, so they'll buy a ticket. But if you put a $30 premium price tag on top of a subscription for your like home video release, it's immediately less enticing. So I think it's just really more of a format thing, which is the reason they failed. And I think they just won't do it again. But they'll still keep making these remakes.
Yeah, I can see that. Sorry, I had to think about it. I don't know, because I don't know. I think, if anything, it's just going to stop them from doing straight-to-home releases on movies. Because this movie, in their mind, was going to be like, it was a bullseye. That's why they did this. Because they're like, everyone's going to want to see this movie. This movie's going to be great. Everyone's going to, like, rush home the day of to watch it. You know, they're like, this is going to make money. That's why we put $400 million into this. We want at least $2,500 million. That's not a number. But, you know, they wanted more money. And because they were counting on it. I feel like because they were counting on this and it flopped, not only nationally but internationally, I feel like it's just going to stop them from doing stuff like this again.
What, the whole remake thing or what?
The whole remake thing?
Yeah, all right. Well, like, what are they stopping doing?
I think it's going to stop them from... No. I think it's just going to stop them from releasing things not in theaters.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So if we ever get quarantined again, which, Lord forbid, but if we do, I think it's going to be more so like... Oh, well, Disney's not going to release any movies from now on. But if they would have started this with, like, a movie that people were looking forward to, like that Spider-Man movie that they said they were going to release. This is a movie they were looking forward to. Like, a different one. Like, that Spider-Man movie that they said they were going to release. But, like, Soul, Disney Pixar's movie, that Pixar movie, that's getting released in, like, November 20th, I think, onto Disney+.
Is it, like, with the premium access thing, or...
I think so. I think they're doing the same thing they're doing with Mulan.
So $30
for this.
So is it $30 for just the movie or $30 for any premium access movie?
I don't know. I thought it was just the movie. I'm pretty sure it's the movie.
Okay, because that's like a bit ridiculous, no?
But it's the same as going... The $30 is like a family going to a movie theater, not including popcorn and snacks.
Yeah, I mean, if you split it 3 ways, it'll match up equivalent to whatever you'd spend at a theater. Except you get to watch it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
But it's just, I feel like there's a psychological component to releasing it for $30 to buy that kind of turns you off because you're in a home theater setting where you can just buy Netflix and see as many movies as you want.
I think it's supposed to be like an experience. Like, oh, I get to go to the movies and have this movie shown in my house so I don't actually have to leave.
But what's the premium feeling of that experience?
I'm like the first person to see this movie. And it's also, like, I get to see, like, the premiere of this movie, but I don't have to wait. At least this is for me. Like, I get to be the first person to see the premiere of this movie, but I don't have to go at midnight to see a midnight showing. Like, I could just wake up in the morning and watch it and just not go online until after I see the movie and then just go online after and be like, oh, my God, that was great.
Well, the convenience is great, but you're also getting a worse experience, too.
What, being at home?
Well, yeah, obviously.
I disagree. I kind of think that, like, because we saw Onward here and not in the theater. I thought that was... I didn't mind it. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing Soul, the Pixar movie, at home for the first time. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like I can pause it and go to the bathroom, come back. Like, if they released Endgame at home, I would have loved it. I had to go to the bathroom, and I held it for, like, an hour and a half. Because I was like, okay, it's been, like, 90 minutes. I guess I can hold it. Not knowing that I should have just went to the bathroom when Doctor Strange evaporated or whatever.
Doctor Strange evaporated?
I don't know. I don't remember which one of the pointless Avengers stayed. But that's what I was going to say. I feel like instead of doing this movie specifically, they should have done like a Marvel movie. Because like they instead of pushing back Phase 4, whatever phase they're on, they should have just started the movie that they were going to release now. I know that they're not done filming Galaxy's Edge Part 3. At least I think that's what's right. I don't remember. But I know that they had a movie that was pretty much done in post and ready for release. I think it was the Spider-Man one that was coming out, or Black Widow. One of those. I feel like they should have just released that because people would have paid for that. Like, you would get the people who are, like, hardcore Marvel fans, hardcore comic fans. Like, you'd get the families, especially if it was, like, Black Widow. You'd get, like, all of the super SJW women who are like, yeah, female movie, you know? No?
No, yeah. That's what all people who want to watch female movies sound like.
I mean, I'm just saying you would get people who are like, I need to support this movie so that they know to make more of these movies because people like me support it and we want the money. Whereas this movie was like, oh, Mulan's cute. I would watch that. Or they'd be like us and be like, well, I'm just going to wait and see what people think about it tomorrow. and then buy it. Like, but if Black Widow was released, I admittedly probably wouldn't see it that day because I wouldn't feel the need to. But I would definitely watch a couple spoiler-free reviews and then just be like, okay, let's go. let's watch it. Let's get it. I didn't feel the need to do that here.
Nope. I think there's something too, also just the fact that it's a remake, you literally have a better version of the movie available to watch for free. You know what I mean?
Oh, you said a better version?
Well, yeah. Like
I feel that way about Aladdin.
Yeah. Even though I kind of liked Aladdin a bit more.
I don't know.
But
the
like
1.5 speed was weird.
The 1.5 music video speed.
That was weird. It was weird.
It's a Guy Ritchie movie.
Okay, whatever.
that's
also, why are
thing.
they getting all these people who are like actual people? Watch them do like, I don't know. They're gonna do like Princess of the Frog next, and Spike Lee is gonna direct it. Like, why are they doing this? It's like the most.
That would be I would love to see that movie. I just want you to know that.
It would be so dark. It would be like half clip art, half like Tiana running around New Orleans. It's like in modern day, but also the 20s at the same time.
From the director of Black Klansman, Princess and the Frog.
Okay. Anyway, we got way off topic. So we're gonna talk about Cuties. Topic 2.
I don't know what this is.
Okay, so
I don't know how to add to this conversation.
I'm going to tell you what it is. I talked to you about it a little bit before. I was expecting Phil DeFranco to talk about it, but he didn't.
Oh,
like,
is this
it's been
Netflix
a whole
thing?
week, Phil. What are you doing? Yeah.
Okay.
So Cuties is a show for those of you who don't know, but I'm assuming if you are here, especially if you clicked here, you know what it is. Hello. Cuties is a show on Netflix that's a French film that is supposed to talk about how kids are overexploited in like the media industry, and it's supposed to give you like, and it's supposed to, people say it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable so that way you don't, you can like wake up, so you're woke now. You see that like, oh, these kids are being over sexualized, like you didn't see that before, but you're like, there needs to be a call to action or whatever, like this needs to stop. You know, that's like the thesis of the movie. But the problem is that it exploits children by to get that point across. You know, so there's like a little 11-year-old girl who who takes a picture of her boob, and or whose boob is shown, and then there's one who like takes a picture of her private area, and etc. And like they're all like twerking in the camera. And then production for the movie also had 600 girls audition for the lead role, or one of the lead roles, and their audition was to twerk into the camera. Like they had to twerk. The more provocative the dance, the more likely you were to get a call back. So then it's like, where are these kids' parents? How did 600 kids have parents that let them twerk and then send that twerking video off to someone? Also, how is that legal? How can you just be like, hey, little girl, twerk for me and I might give you a job? I feel like that's gross.
Just a bit, you know.
I mean, I don't know how it's legal, but that's like the main problem. So then a lot of people are canceling their Netflix accounts and not using Netflix at all because Netflix refuses to back down. They're like, oh no, it's art. It won awards. I think it was like Sundance that it won awards at. Like we stand with the French filmmakers. It's a foreign piece. Like that's the problem. Like, oh yeah, it's okay to exploit kids if they're French. I don't understand that argument. They're like, it won a Sundance Film Award. It won awards. But it's like, yes, because this industry is very well known for protecting its children at all costs. Because their Academy Awards and everything that is there, I think that's a moot argument. It's like going to a brothel and being like, oh, well, we don't like prostitutes, but we support our local artists. You know, it's like, take the movie down or lose money. And they lost in like a couple of days like $9 billion over a movie that cost $4 million to make.
And this is from people just selling shares, right?
Selling shares. A lot of people, like 600,000 people signed a petition saying that they canceled their accounts. So of those people, it's probably more like 300 or 400,000 people actually canceled their accounts, and the other 2-3 are people who didn't have accounts to begin with or used somebody else's accounts and like signed. Those numbers aren't real. The 600,000 people that signed a petition is real. The $9 billion is real, but like the numbers it's just an estimation of how many people actually had accounts to begin with that said they canceled accounts. But they were trending for like a whole week on Twitter, which is like not normal. And then people were just sharing pictures of them endlessly just deleting or unsubscribing to Netflix. And honestly, there's so many different streaming platforms now that it kind of makes sense to not support them. It's not like it's 2009 or 11 and we don't really have any other options. HBO Max has like everything you used to have in America, but better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can get Friends with the promise of a Friends reunion and Euphoria. What does Netflix have? Stranger Things, season 5, 4, 3, 4,
Big
5.
Mouth.
That's okay.
Narcos.
Big Mouth. No. Let's talk about Big Mouth. Since we're talking about child exploitation, it's like the same thing, but the difference is that they use adults. I think I actually had that as a talking point. Big Mouth made me feel uncomfortable. I know it made you feel uncomfortable because you'd physically cringe. Like,
I think it's a funny show though. It's like a bit. You have to get used to it, you know.
Yeah,
like
you have to get used to the kids talking about their genitals.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I first started watching the show.
Same thing. It's like,
yeah.
I get it. It's funny. It's about kids and comedians talking about their like childhood and like what it's like to be a kid. We've all been there. I get it. Puberty sucks. Haha.
For you.
I'm still waiting for it to happen. But no.
It kind of helps that they're adult. Well, one, it's animated, so for whatever reason, there's like a disconnect there from like for the viewer, and also they're voiced by grown-ass adults.
Yes.
So
very grown, and they're successful people too. So they can afford therapy.
So it's kind of like them making a joke on puberty as opposed to showing a kid actually talking about puberty.
But I mean, written down on paper, it's still a show that got approved that's literally talking about 11-year-old penises and vaginas.
Right.
Which is what I'm saying. Like, it took me like a good 2 episodes, and it starts right away. It's like the first episode, it's like, what am I watching? How did I get here? And like it takes you, I don't know. It took me a long time to click on episode 2 because I was like, people keep saying this show is good. I just want to give it a try. I like raunchy cartoons, but like that was a little much for me at the beginning. I did end up finishing it, and I do look forward to the next season. I'm just saying that it's like mildly inappropriate, or it's actually really inappropriate. But
I mean, it's comedy. Comedy's never meant to be appropriate. It
walks that fine line between like, I don't know.
I mean, like Netflix, I feel like they have a brand that likes to be edgy and artistic. And I feel like what Big Mouth is, they strike that balance between being probably a little too inappropriate for like, family viewing. I mean, obviously it's definitely a little inappropriate for that. But it's not quite offensive enough for people to universally hate it. And therefore it strikes that balance where people actually universally really like the show. Yeah,
because it's like, oh, this is something new. This is something people haven't seen before or haven't said before. But it's like we're all thinking it, which is true. Like there's a lot of stuff in those. Like Big Mouth is a smart show. The way that it shows a lot of things. Like if I had a child that was going through puberty, there are definitely some aspects of that show that I would show the child just because I feel like it would make my job as a parent easier. And if this child's going through these things, it's gonna have to know what's happening, And it does get things right. And it shares a lot of my personal values. Like, I know for a fact that there's no way my grandma would agree with the whole child stuff.
Yeah.
My grandma would have been like, nope, none of this is happening until you're 30 and married. But this is not true.
Well,
I mean, like, puberty itself.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know. I just feel like Big Mouth, in a way, opened the door for Cuties to happen.
Did it? Oh, just because they're like, oh, we pushed the line pretty far. Let's see how much farther we can push it.
I genuinely don't think that Netflix, like, I think that they thought maybe this is going to be, like, something, like, maybe American audiences wouldn't like this, but most people are going to like it. Like, most people are going to realize that this is, like, a foreign film and it's classy or whatever. And I think that they took that to a completely different, I'm talking about Cuties. I think they ran with that. But that's just not what happened. And I think because people liked Big Mouth and it's it's not a similar context matter, but it has kids and kids talking about their genitals and over-sexualizing other kids.
It's a common trait, but they're very different. I get the impression they're very different shows. So
they are. Well,
I think
Cuties
comparing
is a
them is
movie.
maybe just like a false equivalency.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, okay, fine. Then we can go with Stranger Things, because they over-sexualize those children, too.
I mean, not blatantly.
It's not like Cuties. There's
not
no
blatantly.
penises out in... You don't see child porn or child soft porn, or I probably shouldn't say either of those words on this channel, but like you don't see children outside of whatever. But you do see like it's more subliminal, yes, for sure. But these kids are like actual proper children, and they're in situations that like I don't know, because like I don't know, like when in the last season there was quite a few kisses, which I guess is fine, but like I remember being their age, and if I would have had to sit there and practice kissing with a kid that I may or may not have liked all day, even if I did like them, it would have stressed me out. I wouldn't have liked it, and I don't think it's fair to have these kids work like 6 to 8 hours a day blocking a scene where all the purpose of the scene is a kiss. Like it has to be an emotional, powerful kiss, you know. And I also think it's weird that like they baited and what season was it where Elle and Mike were like separated the whole time? Season 2? I think season 2.
Yeah.
When she lived with Hopper. Like it's like they baited that reunion for so long, so it was like essentially everybody watching was like, oh my god, I can't wait to see these two 10-year-olds or 11-year-olds or however old they were like reunite. What do you think is going to happen? They're kids. I mean, I guess like there's that kind of thing that's like, oh, yay, but you know that they're not in a platonic relationship. Mm-hmm. But it's also like they're kids. So it's everything is platonic at that point. But it's like, you know, they think that they're more like, will they, won't they kind of energy. I don't know. I just think it's weird to have, I don't know. I just felt weird about it. I also felt that like the way that, I don't know, some of the angles that are shot and edited I think are strange. But it's not as bad as, like, Toddlers and Tiaras or, like, Dance Moms. If you watch Dance Moms, a lot of those angles are really weird. Like, there are a lot of close-ups on crotches. But that's not on Netflix. So it's off topic, and I can't talk about it.
Yeah, they went over the line with Cuties. And I think it's pretty clear that they probably should not do that.
That being said, we use our mother's Netflix account, and she said that she is not in the mood to cancel it.
To emphasize, we do not share a mother. It is her mother.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that's obvious.
You said our mother.
Oh.
Next.
Okay. So the third thing and last thing that we're talking about today is the Bel Air 2-season buyout by Peacock. So it's really rare for a show to get picked up on a trailer alone, and then on top of that, to get 2 seasons off of it. I bet it helped having Will back them up, for sure. I mean, it had to have.
I mean, yeah, he represents the brand.
You saw the trailer more recently than me, because for the first time anyway, more recently than me. What did you think of it?
I thought, because I don't think about Fresh Prince of Bel Air very often, so having it just... It felt like a twist on what the IP was that I did not expect or see coming, that I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what a more realistic version of this story would be, as opposed to kind of like a sitcom like the original was.
It's also moved up to today. So it's like you have all of the older characters. Like Bull said, imagine what Hillary would be like if she had social media. Do you remember which one Hillary is? The older sister? Yeah,
the older sister.
Or like what Carlton would be like as a 2020 Republican. Like,
it's weird.
I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. I think it's really interesting. Anyway, but yeah. Would it make you get Peacock to see it?
It depends how good it is.
Mind you, Peacock will also have The Office.
It will, but I don't feel the need to rewatch The Office 5 billion times like many other people. So
I mean,
I'm
you
okay
haven't
with
even
that.
seen it one time fully through.
I've seen most of the episodes.
Okay.
The vast majority of the episodes.
You've seen season 4 through 8.
Anyway.
And 2 episodes of season 9. I don't think that's most of them. There's 9 seasons. You're not even halfway through.
4 through 8. And then like half the series, whatever.
Almost.
I saw Robert, California. That's all that matters.
Okay.
But like as far as like getting Peacock just to watch the show, I feel like it might be a YouTube Premium thing or a YouTube Red thing where the reason you'd get it was to watch Cobra Kai, but most people would just like do the free trial for 1 month, watch Cobra Kai, and then immediately unsubscribe before they had to pay. So I feel like it'd be a similar thing where I would maybe just get it for 1 month and then watch this season, unsubscribe. They did the same thing with like Game of Thrones. Like people would just buy the subscription for HBO Now, watch the show when it was on, when all the episodes aired, unsubscribe. So it'd be like that kind of thing for me.
But here's the thing. Peacock is owned by NBC, which is a network.
Correct.
So I don't think, based on like how networks have adapted to using YouTube and other social media platforms, not very well anyway, I don't think that they'll be able to adapt this show to release like regular streaming shows. That being said, they're definitely going to release this on a week-to-week basis for sure, without a doubt. And then I also think they're going to do hiatuses like in between seasons. So I think they're going to do what that network TV thing is that they do for some reason, where they release like half the episodes, then they have like a weekend or like a 3-4 week hiatus in the middle of a season and then release the other half. And I don't think that'll play out well with streaming, because you're so used to getting absolutely every single thing up front and then just waiting a year. So it's like, and I bet Peacock is going to have ads. I just don't see a world where they're not going to have ads.
Yeah.
So what I think is going to happen more likely than not, but I think people are going to pirate it.
Oh, I mean, that's a given for every show, yeah.
Other than The Office, which you can definitely pirate online.
Yeah,
not encouraging pirating.
No,
but like, what else does Peacock have? 2 seasons, though. That's impressive. An impressive buy. I think I would still get it, though, just because I want to support the actual people. But I would definitely cancel when it's not giving new episodes. Like, I would watch it and then cancel it, and then I'd get it again for the next season.
I think it's good. I would definitely. What is it? $5 a month? You said the subscription.
I don't remember.
So it's pretty cheap, like compared to market
is it
rate.
out yet? It has to be.
Peacock
right?
is out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have it.
They don't have Parks and Rec yet, right?
Parks and Rec is still on Netflix, which.
I mean, it's gonna go to Peacock eventually, but.
Yeah, but is Friends gonna go on Peacock? Because I have HBO Max just to see Friends.
I'm pretty sure Friends is gonna stay on HBO Max.
But Friends is an NBC show.
There must be some licensing deal that they worked out, because.
How much money? Like, how much money do I have to go to get you to get this shoe-in off of my... Like, it has to be well over the amount of money that I would make having Friends on my platform. Because if Peacock was like, yes, Friends is no longer going to be on Netflix, but we are going to put it on our exclusive service that's available as of today, people would just go over there now. Yeah. Like, so how much is HBO Max paying NBC to exclusively have Friends?
Well, I'll say this. You know how I talked about how Peacock, I think $5 a month would be the cheap end of like the streaming market for a subscription. HBO Max is the most expensive end, which is like $15. Right. So there's a reason they're charging that much, and I believe licensing these properties is the reason for that.
I mean, yeah, but it's HBO, home box office. They own nothing. I mean, they own like Euphoria, Game of Thrones, stuff like that. But like,
it's owned by Warner Bros., right?
No, I mean, I don't know who owns HBO, but I would believe it.
Because like all the DC stuff's on there, all of like Warner Brothers movies is on there.
But they have a lot of other. They have like Paramount movies, I think, and like other movies.
I think they're just properties that the company just kind of gobbled up.
But like I'm just saying, like that's the concept behind the home box office. Is like you can come here and watch whatever movie you want to watch because we have them all. They don't have them all, but we have a lot of movies, so come over here and watch our movies.
Yeah,
that's like the thing. So it would have been more expensive anyway, just because you've always had to pay for HBO. So now, in a world where everybody else is paying for HBO, of course you're going to have to pay more for HBO unless it comes with your cable subscription, which if you have cable, why? But
we have cable.
We have cable because it came with our apartment. We didn't have cable because we chose it. Don't tell people we have cable.
It was forced. It was a forced purchase, definitely. But yeah, with HBO Max, they also have like all of the premium content that you'd associate with HBO, which, I mean, compared to Netflix, they have like super high quality shows, just like without the quantity, whereas Netflix is the exact opposite.
But Netflix has the budget to have super high quality.
No, they have a super
content.
high quantity of content.
But they could have better. Like, Stranger Things isn't a low quality show by any means.
Well, that's the part of the strategy. They just produce so much content. They hope something like they're just kind of like throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. And then you'll eventually get some of those shows that are like Stranger Things, where it's like super high quality. But then you'll get like 15 other shows that are like absolute garbage with that.
Shot in 2 days in like 3 different sets with like 5 actors that nobody knows the names of.
Yeah.
But then you have like they buy properties or did they just buy one? No, they must have bought multiple because they're doing Ratched, which is the property. It's based off of.
I don't know if they bought it.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Well, it's a Netflix original show, so they had to buy the IP for it.
I mean, they may have licensed the IP to be able to make the show. But.
Well, they have. I don't think they bought Fuller House. They may have the licensing for that because they don't have Full House. Full House is still on Hulu, so they don't have Fuller House on Netflix.
It's just like licensing BS. Then like, oh, we own this right, we own that right, but you know.
They lost a lot of their Disney Channel content to Disney Plus.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, they still have some movies because of contracts and stuff.
Right.
But, I mean, is Netflix going to go out of business? Let me just say that we watched one episode of Ratched, and it's shot like a movie from the 60s, or really more like the 50s. Like, if you've seen Vertigo or Casablanca, like those era movies, it's shot just like that. But it's shot like that with today's technology, and it is glorious to watch. We didn't watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because we didn't have to in school. It wasn't one of our books to read.
Right.
We read Divergent instead.
Don't embarrass me.
We did. Anyway, yeah, so we didn't know what was happening the whole time. We were like, what's going on? Like, why is she doing this to people? So then I read the synopsis, and then I read the Spark Notes of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and we also haven't seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but that's also on Netflix, so we'll probably watch that soon.
See, that's probably why they have it on Netflix, so they can be like, hey, you liked our show? Go watch what inspired it, kind of thing.
No, honestly, but we genuinely just didn't know what was happening. But we still enjoyed it. It was really nice. It went over. It's
a really good show from the first episode.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We also watched Hoops.
It's okay.
I don't remember anything that happened. I think Nick from New Girl is in it.
That's a theory. That's a theory. It just kind of sounds like
him. But, like, honestly, I slept through all but 2.5 episodes, so I genuinely have no idea. There's a cranky little guy, and his dad's kind of mean, and he makes steaks.
Is he mean, though? I feel like he just has, like,
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I actually saw the show, so, I mean, it's basically about, like, this coach who's kind of, like, failed at life, and he has, like, super successful people around him. And he kind of constantly compares himself to that, and you can kind of tell he's bitter. But I don't know. It's like they try doing this thing where they make the main character so flawed yet relatable, like Bojack, except this man is unrelatable and
it's a
sucks.
Complete Bojack knockoff.
Yeah. I mean,
in the respect of the title scene, the title scene is like it's like 100% Bojack.
Well, regardless of the title scene, I think conceptually, just like the character you follow and the type of story that they're trying to tell, where it's like you have a flawed character who is trying to work through these flaws as he like goes throughout life. They're kind of ripping that off, but they don't do it nearly as well. No. So you don't like the character or want to.
Yeah, I don't know. Bojack was great. We should do an episode about Bojack. We should do an episode about just cartoon shows in general, comparing them. I like intelligent TV shows and movies that make you think, or movies that are like seemingly deep, so that way when you like get to them, I don't know how to explain it, but like when you're the more you watch it, the more you discover, and like you have to like peel away the characters. Like Bojack has some deep characters. Like I love the foil of Mr. Peanut Butter in the beginning, and then how Mr. Peanut Butter just disintegrates into this completely different character, but it's like it makes sense how he got there, and it's not like, well, how do they do this? How do they just pull this depressed dog out of nowhere? But it's like he's been like you can just see it. I don't know. I just think it's great. I genuinely do. I like that show a lot. Will I watch it again? Probably not, because it was kind of intense, but I did appreciate it.
No, yeah, it was definitely good watch. So yeah, go see BoJack. Don't watch Hoops.
Yes, as you can see, we're heavy Netflix users. Thanks, Mom. I don't actually know if she knows we use her Netflix account. I mean, I already mentioned it multiple times. I don't know. She's not gonna hopefully lock us out. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share this. Leave suggestions down below for what we should talk about next. We have so many videos coming up. I'm excited to shoot the video that we're going to do for The Mandalorian Season 2 that comes out next month. And what else are we going to talk about?
Movies. Definitely a lot of movies.
We're smart people, I promise. We're going to talk about movies. Oh, nope. Follow us on our social medias. I'll have them on the screen or down below.
Yep.
If you agreed with us, let us know. If you disagreed on anything, tell us why in the comments. And we will see you guys next week. All right. Share, like, subscribe. Peace, guys.